the 10-week thing. I just wanted to make sure everybody else was, because we promised you 10 weeks. We promised you this system that was designed for everybody to compete with, 16 playoff teams, and that's what we want to give you. I just want to make sure it's okay with everybody.
Well, and I don't want to challenge. I kind of, maybe I do a little bit kind of challenge the trainers out there. I mean, you guys have put in like a ton of effort to make this as simple as possible for the trainers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for God's sake, there's a whole list of Pokemon that are available for like waiver pickups. Like, are you kidding me? So, I think it's yes, it's difficult to fit in the time, and it's a lot. It is more than just like, oh, I can battle that, because you do think about these battles. You don't just you do have to prepare for them. So there's a little bit more than that involved. But I think the 3 games a week is fine, and that even during finals week, there's got to be some middle ground that you can find. And I think maybe that trainers need to start trying to coordinate their battles earlier in the week. Mm-hmm. I know I just recently started doing that. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, I was like on Saturday messaging people, but it definitely seems to benefit everybody to just try to get in touch earlier in the week. Like I went away last weekend, so I tried to get in touch with all of my people early because I knew I wasn't going to be here for the end of it. So, and I think it definitely helped.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, everybody, when you signed up, you knew what you were getting in for.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah. All right. Well, we're approaching the half-hour mark here.
Okay.
So I figure now's as good a time as any to introduce our special guest. As you can see, we have an extra chair right here. We have our first interview for the PBF podcast. You know him as the brand new trainer for Cradilys. He took over for Zach Vership. Matt Blacka, why don't you come in here?
I was hoping you were going to be at the... Hey Black, how's it going, guys? Good, have a seat. Say hi to all our viewers.
Hi, all your viewers.
All right, now Matt, we were just discussing the issue of the week, which is the possibility of cutting the season down to 6 weeks instead of 10. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I'm having fun. I could go for 10 weeks, but I don't know. I didn't get to play the first week either.
Well, there.
Yeah, so because I came in late, and I did start 0-2-1, which is kind of depressing. But I suck anyway, so I'm not really winning that much.
Well, that was actually going to be our next question: is what's it like to? You didn't draft your team. You didn't have any input of what your team was besides a few trades and a waiver claims. Just how was that your very first week taking this team that somebody else drafted and just going in?
Oh, that was the worst part about it, because I never played, I played Pokemon in high school and, had some experience battling, and I never really played defensive teams, ever. I always just, went in there and tried to predict and sweep. But, I came into this team with no real, solid sweepers. I had to pick up Exploud.
Great pickup, by the way.
Yeah, and I have Mega Gengar, who's, my main guy, and I switch him in at the worst times. It's been horrible. But, once that happens, I'm pretty screwed because I have all these walls, and now I'm switching my strategy and I'm trying to play with walls. It's been working out so far, so see what I can do.
No, and that's kind of what I like to see, which is why, because you said I'm not gonna have much to say, but it actually I was very interested to hear what you had to say, just because you did pick up a team that wasn't yours, and I was just that's a great point, that if you're not used to playing a certain style, but the guys you're given are leaning that way, it's good that you can adapt like that.
Now you're currently in the play. If the season ended today, you would be in the playoffs.
Just barely.
But you have Kakuna Matata and I'd Surf That breathing down your neck, 3 points back, and Amphrosiveness actually, since you would be in a wild card spot, is only 4 points back. How safe do you think your playoff spot is?
As of now, I'm feeling pretty confident. I made a couple changes on my team. I traded Jeremy actually for Zatu and for Metagross. I know some people were upset about that trade, but I'm telling you, Zatu, he's an MVP. I played him the 2 games I played him in. He did a lot of work, and I suck at Metagross. I don't know why. He just gets Earthquake and I lose. so I never used him anyways because I can never use him right. So it worked for me, and I feel I'm taking slacking now, so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, that's something we want to talk about. Slacking was kind of the joke of the draft. You weren't there for the draft, but everybody knew because he was our second top base stat total, right?
Yeah.
After Reggie Gigas.
Right.
And
The first Slaking was the first auto draft, and then thanks to Zach a panel of Zach Vershup's peers, Reggie Gigas was spared.
Right. But you did end up with Slaking, and you've actually embraced Slaking.
I mean, at first I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this Slaking? Like, my first draft was stupid, like horrible. How am I supposed to do anything? I complained about it. And then, like, whatever, I'm taking him. So I took him, and he just one-shots people every time he hits them. It's, like, ridiculous.
Stab Giga Impact.
Yeah, Stab Giga Impact.
I don't know what else to expect.
He's been pretty solid for 2 kills, I think, in both games. He had 2 kills. Mm-hmm. And if you're killing 2 people with every Pokemon, you're going to win. So
yeah,
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So what have your thoughts been on interleague play so far? I know you didn't have, it wasn't quite the same for you since you only got like 2 weeks of conference play. But does one conference, does it seem like the blue conference is as dominant as they are when you look at the numbers?
I mean, I think they're pretty good. I think they might be a little better than the red side, but it's just I don't know because whenever I was playing everyone else the first 2 weeks, I was just getting my crap rocked. Like I was getting destroyed, and then like I don't know, the inter conferences I felt a little more competitive. Maybe it just might be the matchups, but
and that might just be you coming in your own as with 2-3 weeks
That's
under
true.
your
You're
belt.
finally figuring out how to
play Pokemon again.
No, we'd like to thank you for coming in and talking, but I'd just like to tell you now, Peasley, may I, what we discussed? No.
This happens a lot. Jeremy tries to.
Because we're done with Blacka.
Peasley just says no.
Are we done with Blacka?
What else do we want to ask him?
All right. Well, then we'll go to the fan questions.
Well,
No. You trust me.
Okay, Blacka, we just want to thank you for coming. You can either sit here for the rest of the time, or you can leave.
I'm gonna go home and eat.
All right.
Again.
You don't want to participate with the rest of the.
He'll just have to watch the rest of the podcast at home.
All right.
Blacka, thank you for coming.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Blacka.
And if you want to be in that seat, well, you probably can't be in that seat unless you're making a road trip down to Pittsburgh. But if you want to be on the podcast next week, we need guests. Well, we don't need them, but we'd like them. We want to hear from you. You hear from us all the time.
I'm sure you want to hear from people other than me, Jeremy, and Mike all the time.
Yeah.
And we have heard you on the threads. We actually got some questions in this week.
Questions plural?
I got a question. A question.
Question.
All right. The question comes from DJ Challingsworth, trainer of Not Wynaut,
Yep.
and he asks, "Will there be a season 2 of the PBF?"
Okay, I see why you asked this question,
Jeremy?
and I am here to happily and proudly announce that yes, there will be. Whether that starts, in 3 weeks or something. Well, let me take that back. I plan on going the whole 10-week season. That I plan for now, unless you guys want that changed. I don't want it changed, but I don't care if it changes. But there will be a season 2, and it would probably, if I had to guess, start sometime in June. And I really don't think we would change much.
No.
I believe it would be the same
The
draft.
current schedule goes until May 25th,
Yeah, so it'd
and
be
then the playoff would probably take a month or so. So probably July start.
well, June or July, sometime around there. But there would be a season 2. It would be the exact same structure as far as the draft goes, except we haven't really been really discussing it that much because we're still engrossed in season 1. But talking about maybe keeping 1 or 2 of your guys from the previous season.
The Keeper League.
Keeper League.
Yeah, I don't know how we want to do that yet.
Franchise tag, if you will.
Yeah, so I think maybe 2 guys.
That's
keeps.
about right.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be your mega.
All megas
Ooh.
are all megas.
I
are
would-
new.
I would vote too. I don't see why you couldn't allow the megas to stay.
Just to keep it interesting, I'd wipe the megas, and maybe.
Well, we can discuss it.
And yeah, we obviously this is all up for discussion. That's why we're talking about it here instead of making this a long Facebook post that already has the rules. We want you to A, watch the podcast, and B, give us your feedback.
Mega Pins are OP.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe some team, if we mix up the megas, some people who rely kind of heavily on their mega
Whatever.
would have to reevaluate their strategies.
Maybe their life too.
Yeah, and also the draft order would be completely dependent on
The previous season's results.
the previous season's results. So if you win the whole thing,
Instead of the magic sorting hat, we
Right.
would have actual records. to
yeah.
look
So if
at.
season 1 wasn't your season, you got first pick. That's just
Take that road and wash
Yeah.
and go to town.
yeah. But the other thing is we may be having less people, and that's just because we're gonna see how many people of our original 24
Want to come back.
want to come back, and also see how many stick it out. So I know that there are at least 16 of us who are willing to come back, and that would be our first cutoff number would be 16. That's our absolute minimum. But we are absolutely willing to go to 24 again. So we would just have to see how that goes, and obviously first picks come to, or first spots come to repeat players. You know,
Yeah.
we
Right.
always have expansion teams.
Yeah.
So,
So-
I know I've asked you tons of things to comment in the comments here, but that's what comments are for. You post your little hearts out. What you guys think about that? What you guys think about maybe mixing up the megas, keeping 2 guys? I think 2 is a really good number for
Yeah.
keeps. I don't think I'd change.
You can build
that.
your whole team around 2 guys.
Yeah.
And they can keep kind of if you don't want to change your team very much, 2 guys can be all it needs to keep the direction.
Yeah,
that
It's a
you're
third of
going
your
now.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just redraft.
Yeah.
Now, Seth, are you excited or are you super excited about this news?
Oh, I'm super excited. Honestly, no, and that's just I'm a huge Pokemon fan, and I mean I've already talked to a pretty good end about how much I love like the model of this league, because man, do I get frustrated just playing on the OU ladder.
Yeah.
I don't like being held to ladders.
Right.
Because it's really just saying, these Pokemon aren't good.
Yeah.
You guys go have your little party over here, and we'll have our big league up here, and that league just completely throws that out the window. So the fact that it would come back again is great.
Most refreshing thing I ever did in high school is we had a UU tournament.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
seriously,
Absolutely wonderful.
seriously. Those are some of the most fun matches I've ever had.
All right, now, Seth, I know Jeremy's been kind of talking a lot. He just gave us the whole introduction for Season 2.
That's fine.
So we're going to let him talk some more. Jeremy specially requested some time in this podcast, even though he didn't really need to. He's 1/3 of the podcast
Right.
anyway. For a certain rant about something that is near and dear to most of your hearts, and he is going to step all over it after he ignores that call on my phone. Just swipe that off. You can just swipe it
What
off.
song is that?
Just swipe it off. Thanks.
Now, I did have something actually I wanted to rant about, but I think something else rant-worthy is whenever people don't silence their phones whenever you're recording something.
That's
So
fine.
I think you owe everyone a public apology.
I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm usually better than that. This was a little bit rushed today.
Rush, you had
I'll-
time to put a tie on.
I'll do better next time.
I ordered Jimmy John's.
Yeah,
First of all, I'm very good at putting on a tie. I did this very quickly. And Jimmy John's is stupidly fast. Or whatever their catchphrase is. They're not a sponsor, so I'm not worried about it.
I was hoping I'd be able to interrupt the podcast with it, but it came before, so
Now,
irrelevant.
yeah.
All right, so
Jeremy's about to step on your dreams, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a popular opinion, and this certainly does not reflect the views of all of the PBF. It reflects my views. And I'm not singling anybody out. I will admit some discussions in the PBF kind of reminded me of this, but I'm not attacking anyone personally. And that's the whole Twitch plays Pokemon thing. The whole worshipping the Helix fossil. And the whole bird Jesus.
One more set of air quotes. Gotta do everything in 3s.
All-terrain Venomoth.
There you go.
Now,
It's a good rule.
I turned on Twitch Plays Pokemon once. And I watched it for 5 minutes. And it was the most thoroughly boring 5 minutes of my life.
And he's an English major.
And I am an English major. So I make a living writing horribly boring pieces. Not writing, reading. horribly boring pieces of literature. And I mean, it's a cute little experiment. That's fine. It built a little community. But it just creeps me out whenever people praise and, like, make a little posts about, like, the Church of Omastar or God knows what, the Helix fossil.
Yeah.
It's creepy. And that might just because, you know, I've embraced the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and not you know, creepy Helix
We're not
fossil
gonna
stuff.
air any of this.
But you asked for my opinion on it the other day, and I wanted to share my opinion. I think it's creepy.
I'm pretty sure you threw your opinion in my face, but that's okay.
That may be true. I've been known to do that. And I'm not taking shots at anybody. Maybe trying to stir up a little controversy. Maybe just airing some things off of my chest in a public forum. But I think the whole thing is stupid. I also don't like Game of Thrones.
What?
Alright.
Well, now you just completely
now I'm
discredited whatever you just said.
Well,
Seth,
I'm just trying to throw in some wrenches here.
I'll try to ignore that you said that last one.
No, I think you should attack on the last
No, that has nothing to do with PBF. I was just, yanking some chains.
First of all, if you don't watch Game of Thrones is almost as fun as Pokemon. You know, but that's besides the point. But I'm about like halfway to where you are.
Okay.
I'm not fed up with it. I agree that it is like pretty asinine, and that like for like people to get on and like, you know, actually think that by what they're typing can make a difference when like thousands of other people are doing the same thing, and just watch this little asshole go in circles for like an hour. You know, I mean, I that to me is stupid, but I think it's interesting as like a novelty, like fad.
I think it's a cute experiment, and I appreciate that they kind of built this culture around it. But I just think it's creepy that they're worshiping this culture.
Yeah, and I question how, you know. I think those are like pretty half-hearted. Like,
I'm not saying that people actually go and like kneel down and pray. My Jesus Christ.
Yeah, nobody's
obviously a joke.
Yeah, nobody's saying that.
Yeah,
but
no.
But yeah, no. I mean, I think I don't know that there's much room for it, you know, in our league because it doesn't really apply.
No.
But
I'm not saying other people shouldn't like it.
And honestly, I think it's good. I will say this. I think it is good for Pokemon as a whole. I think it draws interest to Pokemon, which is something that, you know, is hard to do for people that are, you know, older than like 16. You know, if you still like Pokemon after like once you made it to college, those people are going straight to heaven.
You're a nerd.
But
I'm sorry.
no, that's a good thing. But yeah, I like the attention that it brings just to the game in general. I think it'll make people be like, hey, I don't want to play with a million other assholes, but I want to play, you know, maybe I'll go buy the new game.
Right.
You know.
And this might all have to do with me choosing the Dome Fossil when I was a child and choosing it in every subsequent playthrough.
A little bit of resentment.
Maybe. But this was mainly the time reserved for us to sing a song that I have not gotten around to coming up with words for.
Once again,
so we needed to
Jeremy
fill some time.
stepping on all your hearts and dreams.
Stepping on your hearts.
Kabutops versus Ammonite, who wins? Or Amistar, who wins?
Well, Omastar gets Shell Smash, right?
Yeah.
But Kabutops says, is there rain in play?
I don't know. No.
Probably.
You would have to take a turn to set up rain while Amistar's Shell Smashes.
Probably
and then proceeds to HP grass your face.
Yeah, probably Omastar then. That's a tough one.
All right, well, let's transition back to some more of your regularly scheduled programming. Everybody's favorite segment, Pokemon of the Week.
Oh!
How about you lead us off this week, Peasley?
All right.
This is where our song has to be like Pokemon of the Week.
Well, you're the director of audio operations. Get our...
Oh, I thought it was video.
He's video.
Oh.
He needs to get a promotion.
Well, whoever's audio needs to get this squeaking out of outside.
Yeah, who the hell's audio?
I don't think they can hear that.
Is that your computer?
No, it's not.
No, it's not the.
Okay.
This has been a distraction-heavy episode, and we apologize for that.
Hey, you gotta fill an hour somehow.
My Pokemon of the Week comes from my division, from Maestro Missy's team, Volcarona. Volcarona has not been using Quiver Dance, and yet has still been getting the kills this week. Yeah.
Non-Quiver Dancer.
Yes. I believe it's Life Orb. And it's working the Bug Buzz, Fire Blast, Giga Drain.
And Roost? Or just
No,
full
I
attacking
don't
moves?
even know what its fourth attack.
It might have Quiver Dance, it just hasn't used it.
It's true, but it's just been predicting very well. It's just using the type coverage of those 3 moves.
Well, she's a very
Tremendous.
good trainer.
Yeah, she's a very good trainer.
So, yeah.
Tied, yeah, she's part of the log jam behind me.
No.
Tied with Philly Flygons with 16 points.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she's just been using the Volcarona very well, and just those 3 types can take out a lot of different guys. Jeremy, what's yours?
Well, like you, my Pokemon of the week comes from my division. But he's even a little closer, near and dear to my own heart, because he actually comes from my own team. And I'm going to have to give the Pokemon of the week nod this week to Garchomp, who happens to lead the league in plus minus.
We never claimed that there was no nepotism on this podcast. Folks.
Never claimed that.
Toot his own
Hey,
horn.
this is completely unbiased. I've sheerly looked at from a statistical.
Wait, how's your shoulder doing, Jeremy? Because I don't want
Chip
you to
on it.
strain it
Yeah.
from patting yourself on the
Yeah.
back too much.
I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm patting Garchomp. You know, he put the hard work in. He's got a plus 17 here.
Didn't bring him against me.
I did bring him against you.
Scared?
Because of Mammoth.
You scared?
That's a good call. That was a good call.
You know, I mean, just from a purely statistical standpoint, I think he performed the best this week. It has nothing to do if he was on my team or someone else's team. If
Oh, what was his plus minus, Jeremy?
17.
I believe he's tied for first.
With who?
Mega Pincer.
Oh, look at that. And which team is Mega Pincer on?
Not mine.
He was on Team Nohawk, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, just from a purely statistical standpoint, Jeremy.
From a purely statistical standpoint, I think Garchomp did great last week.
And to be fair, I do need to Mega to absolutely shit on everyone's teams.
Right. Garchomp comes ready to defecate upon others.
Alright, so, Seth, which division does your Pokemon hail from?
Mine comes from the Bulbasaur division, and and I have a couple reasons for picking this Pokemon, and that is my championship team's Alakazam.
Yeah?
And I know, I mean, this is a Pokemon who I know Brad actually had on the trade block at one point because he just had no success, and he's only got 11 kills, but I think like almost all of them have come in like the past like week or two, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe that.
And I just like seeing a Pokemon be able to turn around. What?
No, just...
Oh. Be able to turn around and just have success after, you know, I'm not saying Brad gave up on it, but I like to see that, you know, you find a niche for a guy that hasn't had one before. So that's why he's my pick.
Yeah, I think he was on the trade block last week.
Yeah.
And the same week he became your
And
Pokemon
that
of
just
the
goes
week.
to show you that, I mean, just when you thought you've given up on a guy, they could end up being the absolute best thing you need on your team.
Some words of wisdom.
Yeah.
I'll take that as advice.
I mean, I gave up on Tornadus, and so I started using him, and he's done absolutely nothing. I haven't used him in any single game, but...
Alright, now we'll move on to everybody's second favorite segment.
Who's second favorite segment?
Where we talk about the trainers in the league that are still on the bubble for the playoffs and what they need to do to get there. Jeremy, you want to take the first one?
So last week we talked about kind of some lower fringe teams, and we forgot which ones we talked about. So we decided to
pick bubble teams.
No, we just decided to just put all the names in a hat and pull some names out and just talk about them. So, because eventually we'll just talk about everybody. I think that's a fun thing. So, if you could mark down who we've talked about so far, and just add MP squad or cross MP squad off the list or whatever. So we're gonna talk about MP squad. I've played MP squad. MP squad is in my division. MP squad is going to give me a tough time in this division, with things like Azumarill, who's just horrible to deal with no matter what kind of team you've got. It wouldn't be it obviously does tons of damage, but the fact that it's just bulky and you can't just kill it in one hit with much, that's a problem. And I still believe that if MP Squad had brought Azumarill to the game,
your battle,
to my battle, I would have lost. But even beyond Azumarill, you have Landorus, who's just done fantastically. I would love to have Landorus on my team. I think anybody would love to have Landorus on his team. It's just a great It's a great Pokemon, and MP Squad has just used it so well.
Does it lead his team in kills?
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
I thought. Good choice.
19 kills.
Wow.
Yeah, that's up there.
It's impressive.
And you got your supplemental players like Magnezone, Hydreigon, and then been using Arcanine now. It was a great waiver pickup.
Yeah.
You see a lot of Arcanines nowadays as a wall.
Yeah, Gen 6, he kind of turned into that morning sun.
Yeah. I know it existed in Gen 4, but he was still kind of the whole I am
Life
a
Orb.
sweeper.
Yeah.
Because I have extreme
Well, he's got
speed.
such great coverage with exchange speed.
But I believe
running
MP
close
Squad
to
has been
that.
using Arcanine specifically as a sweeper, and it's been really working out.
Awesome.
And if I had just... this isn't really a suggestion. It's more of just like a great problem to have, is that MP Squad has too many good guys. And it's tough.
Wouldn't we all like to have that
We
problem?
would like to have that problem.
Oh, like I know if I had Azumarill, Azumarill would not be benched on my team.
Ever.
I'll just say that much.
Never.
Yeah,
I would never bench.
But the fact that he can still do that and still have
Yeah.
a great team is awesome.
Yeah. A lot of the success for MP Squad will come in the preparation of the game, bringing the right people, which they could easily do because of the options they have.